Hello techies. Welcome to our brand new video series focused on helping you get the most of your experiences in life. Before we start the video, let's know about Upptalk. Upptalk is a live, interactive platform for software training, furnishing robust personalities who could take on universal business platforms. In this tutorial video, we will take a deep look into Workday HCM. Workday HCM, Human Capital Management, is a cloud-based system used by organizations to manage their human resources, including hiring, onboarding, payroll, and performance management. It provides a comprehensive suite of tools to help companies better manage their workforce and streamline HR processes. It also allows users to track and analyze data to gain insights into workforce performance and compliance. Stick around and watch each and every video in this Workday HCM series to receive the most benefit from it. We are going to talk about the following topics in this video series. Navigation basics and organizations in Workday, core concept. Position management, staffing models. Compensation and assignment. Basic configurable security components. Business process key concepts. Business process in Tenant. Overview on CRF and creating a report. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel to know more about such interesting technologies. Watch other videos in our Upptalk channel. For more information, contact us at sales@upptalk.com. Let's get started.
So today the session would be more on theoretical side. The tenant access that we have is down for maintenance, so we won't be doing anything in the tenant today. But today's session is the first session. We're going to keep it very light. We're going to keep it smooth. And we're going to start with the very first topic of navigation basics and organizations in Workday. Now, before that, anyone here has used Workday as an end user or as an implementer? So there are a few things which folks who have used Workday or using it as an end user will be familiar with, like some of the basic navigations. Very simple, nothing rocket science. You're going to learn that very easily. So let's start with that. We're going to first understand we're going to work with the organizations as well. Sorry. With navigation, we're going to hover over a little bit on the organization. I'm not going to go on a completely deep dive mode on what organizations are, but we'll definitely look at some visuals on the same. All right. We'll have a conceptual understanding after this session on what Workday organizations are. I wish the tenant was working and could have given you the demonstration, but that's okay. We'll do that tomorrow. And some of the different organization types and what are the characteristics. So the very first visual that we have is on the navigation. Now this needs to be updated because as of September 9th, the Workday user interface has changed a little bit, though it changed 6 months back as well, but few more changes got added as of September 9th, which kind of removes all the application box that you see onto somewhere in the center rightish. The application section that you see is no longer located here. It's actually located on the most left hand side, and you still have the Workday. Let's start from the top left first. You will have a Workday icon in the organization that you're working, just so you would notice. Sorry, what's the question? So on the left hand side, you would see the Workday icon. For any organization you will work, you will see your company icon. Like you're working for Google, you will see the Google icon. If you're working for Metaverse, you will see the icon for that. The next is the search. Now the search is now somewhere located in the center. The functionality has enhanced a lot. It uses a lot of machine learning and it uses some machine learning algorithm in the backend, which gives you the most recent searches that you're looking for. It's not that smart, but it's very effective. All right. Moving to the right, it's primarily the same. The leftmost, which navigates to the notification, this looks like a bell icon. And this bell icon is actually like a bell icon. And the next one is a message, something related to inboxes. The symbol is like an email symbol, which you will see once we log into the tenant in the upcoming sessions. This is an inbox button. Now, the difference between your notifications and your inbox is the action that you need to take always comes in your inbox. Basically, any action items that is required of you, like you have to approve a transaction, you have to approve someone's time off, or you're a new joinee, you have to complete your onboarding, you have to update your personal information, banking information, benefit elections, etc., etc. You will get all of that in your inbox because there's an action that you need to take. When it comes to notifications, it's by the name itself, it is for notifying purposes only. It notifies you of certain action that happened or someone did an action and you are a receiver of that notification, right? So that you will get to understand, okay, this is what happened and this is the notification that I'm receiving, right? Sometimes, let's say you apply for a time off, all right, that request goes to your manager for approval. Now, as and when manager approves it, you get a notification that your time of request has been approved. So something like that. And the very rightmost button, which is like a profile picture, that is your worker profile. And once you select that, you get all these drop-down menus. I know that this is not a very zoomed in picture of what that looks like, but a lot has changed since the beginning of 2022. So we'll see that in the tenant. Right. And in the center, whatever we see is very much customizable, whether you are an implementer, configurator, or an end user.
Okay, so it's the same interface.
Yes, the interface remains the same. The only thing that will change is the number of applications that you see here will be different for an end user versus someone who is an admin.
Okay, so hypothetically, if I'm an HR manager, and I am working with an organization where we use Workday as a application or as a SAP product for us. So in that case, I will have a different set. And as you just mentioned, anyone applying for a time off, applying for leaves or maybe the hiring or maybe the onboarding formalities. That is what, as a manager, I'll see the same page will be reflecting for a person who is working on the configuration of the Workday as well.
Absolutely. So a very good example, if I'll share, is like, say you yourself said that if you're an HR manager, you will have certain applications that will let you see everyone in your team time off.
Correct.
Right? While if I'm one of the employee reporting to you, I won't have that access because I'm just an employee, right? You will have that workload access because you need to manage the team time off. You need to make sure that you have someone in the team available at all times. For example, again, another example would be performance management, right? If it's that time of the year where you evaluate your performances, and I've shared my goals and milestones, I've shared my feedback. Now you will also have a particular dashboard or an application here, which gives you a consolidated list of what ratings you have provided to each and every reporting employee of yours, which I won't have access to.
Okay, got that.
So based on what role you have, you get the security, and based on what security you have, you see the interface remains the same, but what you see is based on what security you have.
Got that. Thank you.
Yep. Sure. So needless to say, there are quite a more things in navigation basics, but that would become a lot more clear once we'll actually jump into the tenant, which, like I said, is down for maintenance as of today. We'll definitely look into that starting tomorrow. Now, moving ahead, navigation is pretty simple. It's not something not I'll show you that in the tenant because this already has been changed. So I'll get this slide updated as well. I think it's been a while. Now coming to the important topic for today, and I know a lot of you are new to this. I don't know if you guys attended the demo sessions or not, but I'm a very visual person. I believe in notes. Two things very important, I'll say, and this is that page where you'll have to make notes. I'll specifically mention where you have to make notes, but needless to say, if you're a person who learns a lot through their notes, then please feel free to make notes anytime. But if at a particular point, like on this page, I'm saying that please make notes, then please do, because that's going to help you in the upcoming sessions a lot. So on this page, these are the primary concepts of Workday HCM. If you learn these, if you understand, I won't say learn thoroughly about it because every topic has its own deep dive into itself. We can spend about like 20-30 hours on one topic, right? But what we do in this course is give you an understanding, all these connectors, all these dots that we connect throughout the session, and understand that these topics that we are working on here are the core concepts of Workday. If you are a recruiting expert or an absence expert or a payroll expert or a benefits expert, learning these topics is going to help you take to the next step of whichever side you want to go towards. If you are into the recruiting side, understanding all these topics, it's going to help you become a better configurator, a better implementer. If you are into Workday payroll, though that requires additional training on to understanding what payroll is, but understanding these concepts will help you a lot in managing different areas of the HCM system and connecting that with the Workday payroll, right? A lot of the open positions in the market, if you LinkedIn is, I believe, based on my experiences, is the best source to search for open positions on Workday. You will see a lot of those ask for a lot of different areas, like they want someone who's absence expert, benefits expert, time tracking, and payroll. It's humanly not possible for one person to be expert in all these areas. There can be exceptional cases, but 90 more than 95% cases, you can be a generalist, like an HCM generalist, which covers a lot of these modules, certain areas of module, and you learn as you go. So even before we start on these topics, another recommendation or a suggestion to everyone who is aspiring to navigate your career towards a Workday consultant is focus on these concepts, understand these concepts, understand the HCM system, understand the HCM ecosystem, and then apply for positions. Start applying for positions. During the mid of the course, I'll continue to poke you guys that this is the right time. Update your LinkedIn profiles, start preparing your resumes, and start applying vigorously. Once you do that, you'll get some interview, you'll learn some feedbacks from those interviews. Once you start your career as a consultant in an organization, spend about 6 months or an year understanding the system from the eyes of that organization, because every organization set this Workday system differently. But the concept remains the same. The execution, the front end, or the logic that you use might be different based on different organizations, but the concept remains the same. All right. Once you spend about that much time, I think 6 to 8 months is enough. But if you want to be more confident, spend about an year and then navigate to a particular module of Workday, like absence or benefits or recruiting, right? So pick your area of expertise after you gain some experience. Don't jump into a particular area as of now. But if you're getting that opportunity, then definitely go with that as well. So continuing with the core concepts here, the very important one is organizations. I know it says supervisory organizations, but I'd like you guys to please make a note which only says organizations as a core concept, right? Put it in bold, put it in caps, organizations, right? And then pull out few arrows out of that. I can help you with that. Just type in organization, like make a note of this. Oh, that's too big. All right, and then supervisory organization, something similar to this. Cost center, something similar to this. Location, something similar to this. And so on and so forth. So organization is your core concept here, right? All these other circles or oval shapes that we have, these are the different types of organizations, right? There are many more based on which industry, which domain your organization in. It will vary. So for example, if you are working in an educational industry, education, in that case, the organization definitely will have these. These are the most common ones. But additional to that, you will have something called as grants, something called as academic units, right? Something called as gifts. Gifts are mostly comes with education institutions, which are given to PhD students, which are nothing but a form of grant, but done in a particular form. Another type of organization, if I mention, is called as retiree. Now, this organization, this is Workday provided. Though all of these types are Workday delivered, but we create them. In case of retiree, we don't have to create anything. This is a self-created organization by Workday. And anytime you know what a retiree is, right? A person who's retiring from an organization, not termination, not leaving the organization, but retiring from that organization based on, let's say, they're retiring at an age of 60 or 65. You need to give a reason, though the process in the back end is you terminate that employee, and in the reason of termination, you give the reason as a retiree. Based on that reason, that person is automatically unattached from all these different organizations and adds them to this particular organization. So these are just certain different types of organization. Now, the core concept that we have is called supervisory organization. This one, we'll talk a lot about it in detail into the upcoming sessions. We'll also have tenant access, so things will become a lot clear. But even before that, let me spend some time on organization, what they look like. Just by naming them does not, clear the air that what they look like. All of these are nothing but a hierarchical structure, a tree-like structure. If you visualize them, all of these are nothing but a tree-like structure where you'll have a top node. All right, this will be your top node. And after that, you will have subnodes. Sorry. You'll have a lot of subnodes based on what your organization structure should look like. So for example, if I talk about this particular example, I don't have a lot of arrows. It will take me a lot of time to connect all the arrows, so I'll just keep it short. So you will have a top node. So for example, if I talk about supervisory organization, you will have the top node, which will be managed by the CEO in most cases, or it can be someone should be at the top level who is managing everything, who's the leader of that hierarchical structure, right? So that top node can be of the CEO or of the executive, someone from the executive management group. someone from the investor group, whoever that person is. Now, after that, you will have certain levels, like this is level 1, this is level 2. Based on how your business names it, you can keep it level 0, level 1, level -1, level -2. It can be anything. You name it, you can have it. Right? There's no definition of how you name your levels, but you need to understand that from the top node, the characteristics of the top node. Like for example, if this top node, the recruiter for this top node is XYZ, the same person will be inheriting those. Like that same person will become the recruiting for level 1. We can definitely change it at any time, but by default, there is an inheritance. Anything that comes from the top, basically on the characteristics of that organization, is inherited. We call these as subordinate organizations. Right? All these also become subordinate organizations. So whatever comes from the top flows down the chain. All these different types of organizations are nothing but in a visual manner, something like this. You will have a top node, you will have some nodes below the top node, then you will have multiple sub nodes below one of these nodes. And that hierarchy flows on. And the inheritance flows from top to bottom. Any characteristics, which we'll definitely talk about what those are, will be inherited by these organizations as well. Similar way, the cost center structure looks like this, the location structure looks like this, the pay group structure also looks like this. Can you just give me 1 minute? There's someone at the door. So the organizations are nothing but hierarchical structures. And the most important of all these different types of organizations is the supervisory organization, because this structure is the only management. It puts employees into a management hierarchical structure. Now, without employees, without a management hierarchy, you cannot do anything with the system, because Workday, it's an HCM system. It is meant to manage the employees, right? It's not to manage anyone outside the organization. It's built to manage the employees. So all that employee data put into a management structure is done using supervisory organization, which is why this is this supervisory organizations. And it even says that supervisory organizations group employees into a management hierarchy. And these are required foundation for Workday HCM. Without these, because without supervisory organizations, you are not allowed to open new positions or open up positions anyway. If you don't have positions, you cannot hire people. If you cannot hire people, there's no use of this system. So supervisory organizations is the foundation of your Workday HCM. Vinita, to your question, do we have only these 4 organizations? No. There are many types of organizations based on which industry you're working in, like retirees, another one. There are more organizations like grants, academic units, matrix organizations, custom organizations. There are a lot of different types. I'm just giving you some of the common ones, which we will also create and we'll look into. Maybe not the pay group, but location, cost center, and supervisor is something that we will create. There's a lot more to it. Once we'll jump into the hands-on mode of it, and we'll talk a lot about that. All right. The next topic, which is in continuation with supervisory organization, is staffing models. Now, if you're making notes, please make a note something like this. Okay. So if you're making notes on staffing models, please make a note something like this. Put your staffing model in bold and then position management. Job management. So you can make a note. I know when in writing, it can be in a better format, but excuse my creativity here, but this is how you need to make note on staffing models. There are two types: position management and job management. As of now, just make a note of this and we'll talk a little later. Basically, excuse me, these models are nothing but defines how we hire people, how the jobs and positions are created. All right. Excuse me 1 second. All right. Moving on to the next core concept, which is again in continuation and very much related to supervisory organizations and staffing models. The next topic is job profiles. No note that you need to make specifically. You can even not make a note of that. That's absolutely okay. It's a very smaller concept, and we will spend maybe a session on this, but discussing it in conjunction with supervising and staffing model, it makes this job profiles a very important topic. Though what it does is it defines generic features and characteristics of a job and of a position that is built off that profile. What that means is if you're working in an organization as a business analyst, then your business analyst is your job profile, as simple as that. Now, how that job profile is created, it's very easy. We learn that, but how that job profile is used in multiple areas of Workday, that is what we'll understand through this concept. And in continuation to that, we'll start with compensation, which is a very, very important, very hands-on, very dynamic, very interesting topic, which we'll spend about more than 2 sessions. At a minimum, it might take up 4 sessions as well, right? And when you're making notes for this, the notes that you need to make is something like this. Compensation package is equal to compensation grade All right. Whenever we talk about core compensation, there's something called as advanced compensation as well, which is not the scope of this course. Just give me 1 second. I'm just telling you that. Yep. So whenever we talk about core compensation for Workday, these 3 terms should immediately pop up in your head. And what that terms are: compensation package is equal to compensation grade plus compensation plan. Compensation package is equal to compensation grade plus compensation plan. Print these 3 terms in your memory because these are gonna help you a lot. Compensation is a heavy topic, heavy in the sense that it takes time, because the hands-on that I do, I specifically divide that. We can cover this hands-on in 1 hour, but I do that in 3 hours. Why? Because I spend an hour on each of these topics, dedicated sessions on each of these topics. So make sure that everyone in the team has an understanding of what these are. Though compensation grades are further like something called as grade profiles or plan profiles. You can just like somewhere on the side of this topic, you can make a note of this as well in parentheses or anything, so that you will relate when we'll come to this topic. And a lot rest we'll talk about comes into the dedicated session. Now the next 2 topics, security and business processes, highest importance if you want to understand Workday. If you understand these 2 topics, you'll be able to tackle more than 50% of the day-to-day issues that Workday consultant face, irrespective of which module you are in. Even if you're not able to tackle those problems, you will at least be able to understand those problems. That is a big win, right? We'll talk about security in a lot detail. We might spend about a complete week on understanding security and in understanding business processes. Though these topics are easy to understand, it's just that I personally take a lot of time to make sure that these topics are delivered in different chunks of information, and all those chunks, like you see here, groups, security policy, securable items, are very much clear to everyone. A lot of hands-on, a lot of interesting terminologies, a lot of interesting concepts that you will learn here. Like in business process, very interesting topic, a lot of things to learn, and it continues to evolve. There's a lot of innovation happening on business processes. But the concept of understanding, once you get these, you'll be limitless, at least in the core HCM domain, which is huge. Knowing this, security and business processes, you can dive into understanding benefits, absence or time tracking, or time off module, onboarding, recruiting, even performance, just by understanding security and business processes. All you have to do is understand how onboarding works. All you have to do understand how performance works and implement that. In the back end, it's all a combination of security and business processes. So these 6 concepts gives you a complete understanding of what core HCM is. There are 2 more topics which are not considered as core concept but are as critical as they go. Those are EIBs and reports, which again we'll spend, like specifically for when it comes to reports, we'll spend about a week on that topic. But I'll be brutally honest about that. Reporting is something which one can learn about maybe 5 or 10% through a training, but the rest is learned completely hands-on once you start with an organization. But we'll give you that 10% with a 100% guarantee that you will understand those. Okay. And the other type is EIBs, which though is part of Workday integrations, which is not in the scope of core HCM, but EIBs are important to know on how they work, how they execute. I'll talk about EIBs a lot. That would be our last topic. What those are and how those are integrations. Those are nothing but bulk uploads. Let's say if you want to change business title of 50 or 100 employees at once, you won't be doing that manually. So for those cases, you have EIBs, which are nothing but manages your bulk uploads. And there are a lot of other use cases to that. So all those are structured in an order. We'll continue with these topics in the same order as we see here. We'll start with supervisory organizations, then to staffing models, then to job profiles, compensation, and then security and business processes. The first 3 topics we'll cover easily. They don't take much time. Based on how a particular batch is picking up the concepts, how the pace is going, these assignments change as we speak. Though the concept remains same, like I'll give you the assignment of that you have to create organizations, you have to create XYZ, you have to create ABC. But there is no dedicated concept because everyone in the batch will have to create these, right? It's not like I created for you and then you can use that. No, you will have to create your own, then only you'll be able to understand, right? So all these assignments, I'll repeat them multiple times in that particular session that this is the assignment, please make a note of this. And in the next sessions, if you have questions, that is the only way I'll know that you have spent time in practicing those. Even if you have not completed it, that's absolutely okay. This is not a school. This is not, we all are professionals. Please do not expect me to ask you that, have you completed that? And I'm also not expecting the same that you complete that. Though I definitely want you guys to complete those assignments because those are going to help you in getting the job that you're looking for. So this is what we will be discussing as of today. There's nothing new. There's nothing more that we'll discuss today. Now I'll open up the board for any questions that you have. Maybe on a high level, but since we need like a third-party system to test those, it does not make much sense to even cover those. But if there is a good amount of people who would like to know those, I can definitely spend about some time on that.
Actually, we are looking for the techno-functional. Is this for only Workday core concepts, or else you are going to be take all the sessions like technical also?
So all these hands-on are all technical, which in the end makes your techno-functional consultant.
Yeah. So what type of technical concepts you could be teaching for us?
So all these core concepts are technical in nature. For every
Okay.
session that we have, there is some hands-on.
Okay. This is for basic functional or else techno-functional?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
After
Thank you.
completing this course, it's up to you which side you want to take, and it's both. We'll cover everything on the technical side. We'll cover everything on the conceptual side.
You will be covered like that core connector workers and like
Nothing
HTTP
on
copy.
nothing on core connectors because that is primarily integrations. But we'll only talk about the theory of core connectors, what those are and how they work.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should be given as not into technical. I mean, only theory only for the CCWs.
Yes, mostly on that side.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
If you want to learn in detail about core connectors and integrations, then they have dedicated course only for Workday integration. I'll request you to check details on that.
Oh, only you should be learn. We should be given only for the limited, like up to EABs only. You should be given only up to EABs only.
Yes, EIBs. Even when we say you work as a functional consultant or techno-functional, these two are also very broad terms, right? In techno-functional, how technical you are, there is no way of telling that. That you will only understand once you start working as a consultant or as a Workday professional, I would say, right? But if you are aspiring to be a functional person, then you definitely need to understand these concepts. And if you are aspiring to be a technical person, Workday technical, then definitely a lot of hands on these concepts. So anyway, these concepts are needed in both sense, right? The usability of that might differ based on what role you're in.
Yeah. Because I'm using all this, but as a basic thing only. As a end user, I'll be doing all these things. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe as an end user, if you navigate to Workday system, you can look at your compensation.
Yes.
Right. But how it is configured in the backend, we'll do that in this course.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What do you see in your system? Let's say if you're a manager, right? If what you see in your system and what information you can see about your employees is based on what security you have. In this course, you'll understand how you set up that security. So not only you will understand the functional side of it, which you already have access to from what I understand, but you'll also understand and learn how to set those up in the backend. Do we get any kind of implementation guide for self-reading? A short answer is no, and I'm sorry, there's no long answer for this because Workday is not an open source tool. There's no documentation that you will find outside anywhere. If you're finding it, that's not good. Someone is putting it out there, which should not be good. And whatever you see in these presentations is based on the experience. This is no copyright of this. We have not. So it's also recommended that you do not share this information because you will get in trouble if anybody catches you sharing this information with anyone else. Right? What we share here is the experience that we have gained. We're not sharing any insights into what Workday is doing. Right? We're just sharing you how the tool works and how you can set that up. Right? So there's no self-reading guides. If you find something on Amazon anywhere, that's not what it is. So please be aware of that. Can we directly take Workday integration course without HCM? Yes, you can, but knowing the core concepts is going to help you. And if you want to take an integration course, it requires some level of programming. what is the difference between techno-functional and functional? I think I already answered that. It would be helpful. I won't say that this would be like a required thing, but see, what we do in the demo session is just do an overview of what Workday is, why Workday is so like most popular, most highly valued tool in the system. It just kind of warms you up for the course that's coming up. That's all. We do not discuss any concepts or any technical information about Workday in the demo, but in the demo it kind of answers a lot of questions that obviously everyone has doubts about. What are the prospects of getting a job, what are the certification and all those things. So we kind of cover all those questions in that.